My parents did an incredible job of helping me build healthy associations with money. It wasn't just about learning numbers, it was about understanding how balance and intentionality shaped our financial lives. Those early lessons set me up for success and helped me navigate the real world with more confidence when it came to money. And it's a big reason why I'm so excited to share today's sponsor with you, Acorns Early. Acorns Early is a smart money app and a debit card for kids that helps them learn the value of money. Kids can spend what they earn with their very own debit card. They'll love the new sense of independence and getting to choose from 35 plus customizable card designs. Plus, parents can keep track of where and when their kids are spending. You can get real-time spend notifications, set your kids' spending limits, and instantly block lost or stolen cards. They might not realize it now, but starting to invest early is going to have a huge impact on their financial future. And the best part? It's simple. And Acorns Early is such a smart, accessible tool to do that. If you're looking for a way to make a real difference in the financial future of the younger people in your life, Acorns Early is an amazing place to start. Ready to help your kids learn the value of money? Just head to acornsearly.com/diaries or download the Acorns Early app to get started. Sign up now and your first month is on us. T&Cs apply. Monthly subscription fee starting from $5 per month unless canceled.
The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Welcome back to Unscripted. I'm Paige.
And I'm Natalie.
If you're new to Unscripted, since, it's still only been a couple months, this is where we talk about whatever. It's like a glimpse into what our phone calls are. That's how we came up with this, is we talk so much before and after recordings and just on the phone with each other that we were like, why not let our listeners in on some of this? So
yeah, some of it's interesting. It shows how chronically online we are and just all the interesting stories that we've come across spending time on the internet. So
yeah, instead of texting it to each other, we talk about it to each other on Unscripted.
And we talk about it with you guys.
Natalie, my office is never going to get done. And I'm so stressed out about it. I don't even think our listeners know, but I've been taking what was our guest room and we're turning it slowly, but surely, I hope, into more of an office/guest suite.
And your inspo pics are really cute. I know you sent me a few.
I'm so upset that I can't do the fluted accent wall. I am obsessed with wall fluting right now, you guys. It is so cute. And I saw a lot of it on the flipping Almusas. And I saw a lot of it on you see it on HGTV. Okay. But especially Heather Almusa and Christina, the ex-wife of Tarek Almusa and Heather's current wife. They do a lot of wall fluting and I love it. It's very moody, mid-century modern, but not too mid-century modern. I love it. I wanted to do it, but the people who owned my house for us, they did this thing on the ceiling and it looks like you can take this, what do I want to call it? Almost like a paneling, but it's well done, but it's bright white. So number one, it doesn't match. And number two, it's very complicated and I don't know what's underneath that thing. So I don't want to take it down. So I'm going to do the same kind of ideas. It's just not going to be as moody, but you know how much I wanted that mood. I'm so upset.
Like some dark academia look.
Yes.
You had dark green paint or something in one of the inspo pics.
It was very organic, modern, dark academia. I was very upset.
And a color drench. It was the walls, the ceiling, everything was painted the same color to give that aesthetic.
With the paneling, right? Or the fluting, I should call it. But my dad, who's very handy, he looked at it and he goes, you do not know what's underneath that paneling on the ceiling.
Are you going to have to call in someone to do drywall, whatever? That just creates a big headache.
And it's too mismatched because the paneling on the ceiling doesn't match the fluting and it just wouldn't fit regardless. Like you can't put the fluting with this thing that they did for their daughter who lived in that room. So that's crazy. I shouldn't call it crazy, but that really mixed some things up with my design. So now I'm just going to bring in lighter colors and keep the thing on the ceiling because that paneled vibe, I can pull it from the ceiling. So I'm going to do that and just appreciate it instead of figuring out what is underneath there. I really just don't want to open up that can of worms. And so I'm just going to take it a little bit lighter. So more of sage green with some lighter wood tones. I might stamp some black in there. I found a desk that has like a beautiful natural wood color with like black legs. And we're talking IKEA. This is like cheap.
I have an IKEA desk.
Yeah. IKEA
works fine.
It's great. I just don't want too much of the, what do they call it? Scandinavian design.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I think I have the Hemnes or whatever. So it's pretty sturdy. It's made of real wood. The quality of wood, probably not great, but I have thought I could probably stain it a different color because it's all white.
You probably could. You just have to sand and that would take like forever.
And then I thought, okay, if I stain it, then I want to put a glass top on it. But then if you're recording, you don't want a glass top because the sound's going to bounce off the glass and it'll make your audio sound weird. And actually, I'm doing my guest room right now. Nothing crazy. I had a daybed in there. I had 3 things, actually, literally just 3 things. My aunt visited and she's, I love coming to your house. It's so minimalistic. I'm like, that's because I didn't decorate that room, but it had a daybed, a rug, and a mirror. That's it.
There's something to minimalism. It can be cozy if the scale is right, like the things are big enough.
Right. But like
It's cozy.
Nobody really comes to sleep over. And if they are, like,
so why do you want it?
So yeah, I don't need a day bed, or it was a trundle. I don't need a trundle bed in my guest room. And then as I was doing that, I was looking for a new rug for my office. And I honestly didn't realize how picky I am when it comes to rugs, because I wouldn't even be looking for one for my office if it weren't for the fact that I ordered the wrong one. I love the way it looks, but it's such a low profile rug. It's a printed on rug, and I didn't realize. And when you're recording in a room and you have a low profile rug, it's not helping any echo. And so I have to put a bunch of things around the room so it absorbs some of that. And so I have to order a new rug because then it affects my audio. And obviously it all gets fixed in post, but it's not great. And you can always tell the difference. Like, my laundry room is next to my office. If I'm sorting clothes and then I'm recording, I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so good. It absorbed all that echo. So I just need a thicker, bigger rug. And that's what I'm looking for. But I'm so picky. I can't find anything I like.
Rugs can be difficult because they're often patterned, right? Or just like one solid color is available, but like then you're mixing it with, okay, here are my pillows. Here's what the pattern or whatever design is of my duvet cover or comforter, whatever you're dealing with. And it's like, how do you know when they go? I just ask my mom, but Mom, do these work? Because we have some similarities, but what she does even more is she taps in to me.
She knows what you're liking. And for now, my quick fix was, I emptied the guest room. And I took that rug and so I have 2 rugs in here and it helps, but aesthetically, I don't want to have an office with 2 rugs that don't match, but it does the job for now. And the one I ordered for this is the wrong size. It's just so flat. It does nothing. So I just needed something to cover the floor. Anyway, that's like super boring for everyone, but
not at all. These are like the behind the scenes, the BTS of kind of what we deal with. Like, part of me wants to like have us just rent a studio for recording. But then the other part of me is I love recording at home. It's part of the benefit of having this podcast, this business, and it makes it easiest and the most enjoyable to bring it to all the listeners by being able to do it at home with my dog on my lap.
Yeah, it makes it easy, especially because it just accommodates all of our schedules. Because when we record, I go to my other job a couple hours later and you work the next day. And so this is the only way that we probably would be able to get it done without running ourselves ragged.
Or we would have that studio, but be going to it at different days, which would be fine too. But sometimes you just rent them by the hour. It's not like something that we're going to rent and design as our own studio.
No.
That doesn't make sense. It would be cool, but it doesn't really make sense. And I know exactly where we would do it. But yeah. So anyways, we just have to keep our offices, keep them up to par with what we need. And that's what we're doing. So you guys can follow along on that journey. I might have to do a little before and after or like post updates or whatever. I actually might do that because it is quite the undertaking. We already got some of the wallpaper down, but other than that, the room is a mess. Oh, I hate walking by it. It's so disturbing, but it does make me happy that something cool is happening. And my husband thinks he's putting a gaming desk in there. And like, he has this like gamer computer that he can't like wait to hook up. I think one of his friends helped build it. So it's like really fast and has all the things that you need for gaming. Cause like your regular computer, just so you know, you can't just like game on it. Like you can if it's a Mac and like an Apple, like arcade game, but like your like real like games that like you can also play on PlayStation, your like PC has like really expensive upgrades. He thinks he's doing that. I told him as long as you hide that computer tower, I'm good. I hate computer towers. They're so just like ugly and disturbing to me and they collect dust.
They're disturbing.
Oh, I hate them so much. So anyways, it'll be an interesting path that we're on to try and get this room looking and operating the way we need it because we want it to look nice, or I do, but it also, we both have two very specific operations we're trying to run in there. Him, a really high level PC that he already has, and me, I need my recording space. But I told him that I win because this is the podcast. This is important.
Unless
for
he
our
starts
listeners.
Streaming and bringing in money with his video game.
There you go. Maybe he will
surprise you.
He might. But so anyways, keep you guys updated. Maybe I'll take some pics. Who knows?
Yeah, do it. Actually, I think we could jump into my first story. I would love to talk about travel, specifically the kind that starts with airport security and ends with you realizing that you should have updated your ID.
Oh, yeah.
There's a really important deadline for US citizens that we can't ignore, and that's May 7th. Which at the time of this recording is next week. And that's when enforcement of the Real ID requirement officially kicks in. It's been basically delayed more times than I can count. And it's finally happening. It's wild that it's taken over 2 decades for this to happen. And it's finally being implemented.
2005 was when the Real ID Act was enacted or passed or whatever you want to call it. And so it just felt like this, I don't know, maybe I'll use the word like this phantom thing where you're just like, okay, it's coming, it's looming for literally so long. And the last time that it felt like most serious and it was going to happen was going to be like 2020. Well, then
right before COVID
hit, so then that got knocked. And so then it just has been a delay after delay, but it is happening. They're not delaying it. It is what, May 7th?
May 7th. So next week, I think it's next Wednesday or something. But for those who are maybe in the dark, have their head in the sand, what exactly is a Real ID? It's basically an upgraded state-issued driver's license or identification card. It looks exactly like your regular license, except it has this tiny star. It's a special star in the top right corner. And basically that star means that you meet all of the federal security standards that came out based on those recommendations made by the 9/11 commissions that was passed in 2005 that you were just mentioning.
It proves your citizenship. And that is what is like important to this act, whether or not we agree or whatever. That's what's really important about the Real ID to those that are making it a thing, right? They want our IDs to also prove citizenship like a passport does without having to have a passport. So now if you're traveling, you can comfortably wait, like, especially if you live in California, because we are so populated. If you have a driver's license, a general driver's license that doesn't expire until 2027 or whatever, you can comfortably sit with that if you have a passport. Otherwise, I would consider just upgrading to the Real ID now. But if you're like, oh yeah, I have a passport and it's still valid for another 5 years, then cool. You can travel with that if you like.
And what it comes down to is, at least in the articles I read about it for this segment, basically, if that's what we'll call it, one of the articles said it's basically to strengthen the integrity of identification, used specifically for boarding a commercial flight or entering a secure federal facility, which includes a nuclear power plant. So if you're not visiting a nuclear power plant or boarding a commercial flight anytime soon, I think you're fine.
Or use your passport, because that'll be a valid way of getting on. But not everybody has one, and those are expensive.
I think one of the articles said 19% of people don't have the Real ID. So none of this affects you being able to cross a border or travel abroad. You need your passport for that. So if you got your passport, your global entry card, or even an enhanced driver's license from a state that offers them, you're basically good. And there's actually a pretty wide list of TSA approved alternatives that you can use in lieu of a Real ID. And if you go to the TSA website or even the Real ID website, it literally lists like 10 things that you can use in lieu of a Real ID license. There's workarounds for people that maybe haven't gotten that.
Eventually, everyone will have one. But like I said, if you live in a super populated area or state, again, using California as an example, you might not need to participate in the rush to get one at this point. Even the California DMV website was like, don't worry, if your driver's license isn't expiring, you can comfortably wait if you have a passport.
They're like, please don't come.
Yeah, don't come. The DMV is terrible in most states, but especially in California, it is a very busy place. And my favorite one closed. So upsetting.
And also, if you're under 18 and you're traveling with an adult who does have a Real ID or a passport, you're good. So it's really 18 and older. If you're boarding a commercial flight, if you're entering a federal facility, then you have to. So I think there's no reason to freak out about it. I just thought that was interesting that finally, 20 years later, it's happening.
They didn't give up. And you know what?
They kept going.
It must be that important with that many people knowing that it offers something that maybe we don't even truly understand. I'm not saying we're stupid, but like not being involved in that sort of stuff like every day, like those that are like serving our communities and whatnot, they must know even more than we do of why this is so important. Part of me wonders, because a Real ID is like $100 instead of what? A $25?
It's not that expensive.
Mine was $100.
Really?
Yeah.
When I was online yesterday, they were saying that another reason to get it was because it would be so much more expensive to replace your passport than a Real ID.
Interesting. Maybe it was $80. It was far more expensive than a driver's license. That's for sure.
That actually answers one of the questions I was going to ask you is, be honest. Have you already secured your Real ID? But of course, I already know the answer to that.
Mine was going to expire somewhat soon. I did it at the time. It was going to expire soon is what I mean. And so I just did it. I did do it a little bit early, but I was like, I just want to upgrade it. And I did it like in the thick of the pandemic too. You would have been so proud of me with all my, like, I hate germs and crowds.
I was going to say, did you actually have to go to the DMV for it?
I did. And I had to unmask for my picture and everything. And I was like, because it was like, I swear I did this like 2021, 2022. So I really wasn't over some of that stuff. Don't judge. If you were already over it, that's fine. I was not. Okay. But anyway, so I was like, oh my gosh, but whatever. I had to do the same thing for my ID at work and stuff like that. So it was at a time where you were unmasking for pictures, and Costco. That was like the first place where I was like getting a new card and I had to unmask. And that was like December of 2020. And I was like, you're just going to straight up have me unmask in this store. But this is when stores still smelled like bleach everywhere, which does not kill the vid, by the way. But anyways, it smelled like whatever cleaner they were using. And yeah, that's why I remember it was like one of those like 3 instances where I was like, oh my gosh, I have to demask. And it was such a big deal, or felt like a big deal. But yeah, I've had mine for a little while, but I'm glad I did, especially for a married person that changed their name. You do have to have all the documents. And I accidentally didn't have one of them, but then they were like, oh, you have your marriage license here. I was like, yeah, I brought it because I'm married. And they're like, cool. and they like didn't need the other thing. And I forget what it was. But so
you need a
just,
couple things. You
bring
need
all of it. Bring it
2
all.
forms of ID. I think you need at least 1 or 2 bills in your name at your place of residence.
Yes. Like a utility bill, those types of things. Yeah.
And that's actually what happened to me was I don't have the real ID, but also that's just how I live my life. It took me, I think 5 years to change my name after I got married.
Oh my gosh. So you had to do it like the real way because you run out of time.
Yeah, you run out of time. I think I skirted in at the last minute because I didn't realize that if you wait too long to change your name after you get married, or for whatever reason, you have to petition the court and you have to publicly announce like in the newspaper that you're changing your name. And I just did not want to go through that.
Oh my gosh.
And so my friend actually wanted to change her name after she got married, even though she didn't put it on the wedding license. And I had told her, look, like, this is what's going to happen. Trust me. Like, it almost happened to me. And she like was like, no, it'll be fine. I don't want to change my name. And now she's had kids and she's, oh, I want all of us to have the same name. And she has to petition the court.
Part of me misses my maiden name, part of me, because it was specific to like my ethnicity. Like I was really proud of it. So I made it like my middle name. And then obviously I don't mind my current last name, but I was like, part of me misses it. So I get why, on top of just the process being a bit annoying, I get why people wait. I get it.
I dragged my feet for so long. I made it feel like it was a bigger deal than it was, just because I kept thinking like, oh, I have to do so much, change so much. It wasn't that bad.
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah.
It was like a Band-Aid. I was like, oh, like I built it up in my head. I probably shouldn't have waited almost 5 years to do it, but I guess I only brought either 1 form of bill or something when I went to go renew my license, and they wouldn't let me do the real ID because I didn't have everything. And so I had to take my license picture over again just for a regular license. And I figured I'm going to let that picture stay for as long as possible. Then I'll renew it. I don't have any plans to travel. I have a passport. So if that comes down to it, I can use that.
That's all you need to do. And like I said, California on their website was like, please don't bog down the DMV, because there are people that are doing really important things or that have an ID that's expiring. So if you live in California or in another populated area, don't freak out if you have a passport or one of the other things that, like, for example, TSA will accept or whatever, because you really don't need it on the day to day if you already have a driver's license. You're fine. That's like an upgrade. You upgrade when it's like your phone. Okay. Yeah, cool. The new one came out, but you don't have to get that one yet. Just wait till your upgrade comes. It'll come. You will get one. And kind of like Natalie said, it pretty much looks the same. It does say real ID on it. It's not that exciting.
It has a little star. It's honestly, if you weren't looking for it, you probably wouldn't even have realized it wasn't there to begin with. But as we close out this little topic, I do have a question for our listeners. And that's, if you don't have a real ID yet, what's the reason? Tell us. Are you just too busy? Is there something about the process that makes you want to procrastinate? Are you like
all
me
the documents?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I have mine, but that's why my husband doesn't. He doesn't want to do all the documents.
Oh, okay. So I should have known Randall doesn't have his because I don't have mine.
Of course he doesn't. And his license doesn't expire for a while, like years. So he still has a couple years on his. So he's not even going to do it until then. Okay. Keep your passport up to date, because we keep ours up to date anyways. And you're right. It's $35. Why did I feel like it was so expensive? What was I paying for?
I don't know. Maybe they made you pay for a couple.
I swear it was like $80, but I'm probably wrong. I don't know. Maybe. Wow. Good. And thank you for that correction, because that was a concern to me. Gosh, this is an expensive thing for people, but it's $10 more than a regular license, which still sucks, but whatever. Okay. But yeah. So let me know when you get yours.
I mean, it'll probably be a couple years.
Yeah. You'll be like,
in 2027. By the way, I got my real ID.
Does Tim already have his?
I don't know. I think so. I honestly don't know the last time I looked at his license.
Me and Tim would, and you and Randall would not. It's so perfect. I love the 4 of us so much. Oh my gosh.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
Switch to Verizon Business and get more from your internet without paying more for your internet. Get LTE Business Internet starting at $39 a month when paired with select business mobile plans. That's unlimited data, and with it, unlimited possibilities. Start saving today with Verizon Business, ranked #1 in small business internet customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Starting price for 25 megabits per second LTE internet plan with smartphone plan savings, plus taxes, fees, and economic adjustment charge. Terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
This episode is brought to you by Loom by Atlassian. Are you feeling stuck at work? Get your team unstuck with Loom video messaging and move work forward. Use Loom to simultaneously record both your screen and yourself to share a quick update, provide feedback, train a colleague, and everything in between. Plus, add Loom AI to your meetings for instant written notes and recordings. Try Loom today at Loom.com. That's LOOM.com.
This episode is brought to you by GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco. Get the most out of your vehicle with GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco original equipment. The only parts designed, engineered, tested, and backed by General Motors. You can find your perfect fit for most makes and models and choose from 3 tiers of parts, including GM OE or gold and silver aftermarket parts. Visit gmparts.com for more information.
Anyone can follow. It takes something special to be an original, which is why the 2025 Lincoln Navigator SUV arrives with new ways of surrounding you in luxury, including the ultra-wide 48-inch panoramic display and the multi-sensory Lincoln Rejuvenate experience. A true original never stops evolving. So meet the 2025 Navigator, the original that's all new and better than ever. Learn more at Lincoln.com. Lincoln and Navigator are trademarks of Ford or its affiliates.
Okay, so total flip to something so different. Fundie news. I want to start, if everybody's up for it, and you, of course, I kind of want to start like a little Fundie corner. I don't know what to call it yet.
Fundie
Maybe it doesn't
corner.
need a name. Fundie corner is good enough because I really do follow the Fundies. Okay, I need everybody to know it.
Well,
You probably already do.
Can you define it? Because I know my dad's listening. He has no idea what a Fundie is, even if he's heard previous episodes where we've discussed them.
I'll keep his privacy, but I'm going to say Mr. Natalie's dad.
Yeah, you can call him that. Don't call him by his name.
I won't call you your real name, even though I know it. Okay. So, sir, the Fundies are fundamentalist Christians. So they take Christianity and they go full force into practicing followings like the Institute of Basic Life Principles, like the IBLP. Those are Christian fundamentalists. So when I'm talking about Fundies, typically it's going to be Christian fundamentalists here because that's who I follow. So they have like really strict rules, like they can't wear pants. And we're not just talking Pentecostal, don't wear pants. This is specifically the teachings of a guy named Bill Gothard, who interprets the Bible and spreads it to people who follow him in the Institute of Basic Life Principles, or the IBLP.
They just experience a really strict way of life where it's not necessarily the same as like an Amish or a Mennonite community, but
very different.
It's as strict in their certain teachings, if that makes sense.
Specifically for women that are in the following. They have the most rules. They often don't even kiss before they're married. They do what's called courtships.
I don't think they can hug either.
Once they're courting, they might hug or they do like a side hug.
Yeah, that's what they call it. The side hug. They never do a full.
We all know why the Duggars had like stricter rules in their family with the brothers and the sisters and side hugs and everything, because their brother was a creep.
Yeah, he's in jail.
You, Josh. Yeah, he's literally in jail for schmormography.
But so two of probably the biggest Fundie families that are in pop culture would be the Duggars and the Bates. Those are probably some names that people who may not be super well versed in this community may recognize.
Yes. And I want to finish my last thought of outside of Josh being in jail for child schmormography, if you will, he also was found to be essaying his younger sisters. So they've got a lot going on the Duggar side. And
he didn't go to jail for the sister because of what he did to his sisters.
They
that was
protected and hid it. Yep.
Yes.
That happened in 2006. So Josh would have been about 18.
And they were actively on TLC with their shows, and nobody knew about it. People in the community had some idea because he was sent away to work on a farm or something.
They love to send their sons to the Alert Academy as well. So there's just a lot going on with the Christian fundamentalists, and they fascinate me. And like Natalie said, the two most prominent families to us who aren't followers of the IBLP or any like adjacent groups would be the Duggars and their very good friends, the Bates. What's interesting to me is a lot of the Duggars and the Bates children are wearing pants, are following other denominations of Christianity, but we don't have any atheists yet. Very interesting, but we will see because they both have 19 children.
That actually is another thing about the Duggars and the Bates. They follow like the quiver full. So they want as many children as possible. And that's why they have so many.
Yeah. They don't practice any type of family planning other than have as many kids.
I guess that is their family plan. Maybe we should say they don't use any birth control.
Yeah, no birth control. And that is IBLP status. So none of them in the IBLP do. They all have 10 plus kids. There's always a lot of kids, but the Bates and the Duggars having 19 still is even like,
oh, it's insane.
A lot within the IBLP. It just is what happened for Kelly Jo Bates and Michelle Duggar. So in Fundie news this week, we got 2 Bates daughters pregnancy announcements, and we got a Q&A video from Jason or Jace Duggar and his newer wife, Madison. They're very young. He is about 25-ish and she is only like 21 or 22. She might be 22. So
that's young to us, but they've been married for a bit, right?
They were the last ones to get married, I believe. So not too long, but right, maybe a year or two. What's interesting, whenever somebody in the Duggar family releases a video, there's usually something going on like the backside. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something come up about Josh or there's some kind of update about any of his cases, or I don't know. Because that part, I didn't follow too much because honestly, it was triggering like some of the CSAM that he was partaking, which is child sexual assault material. So excuse me for using schmormography earlier because the correct terminology is CSAM, child sexual assault material, because that is what it is. It was really gross. And I just don't really like following his case too much. But so you never know what's going on over there. But so once something negative happens for Prince Josh in the Duggar family, one of the family members comes out with a YouTube video that's like distracting and happy. And
one of the family members that's still under the thumb of the patriarch, Jim Bob.
Jessa.
Yeah. Jessa, maybe even Jana. I don't know.
Jana. Yep. Jana does a lot of too. Oh, Reno update.
Yeah. She happened to pop up on my algorithm the other day.
She has a bunch of pre-recorded ones too, which is very interesting to me. And I think confirms that they just keep them in their back pocket and it's okay, here we go. And
I'm surprised she's not pregnant yet, but because that's the thing, you get married, but she's been
different.
She's been different. And we talked about her wedding, getting married as a 30-something-year-old, which is so uncommon for that family.
She's behind by 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah. From her younger siblings. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Let's dive into the stories.
But yeah, Jana is one who will release. So like a video when something's going on. And I think safety wise, it makes sense why they might be a bit backlogged as well. Like it's nice to not have everybody be completely up to date on where you might be and all that stuff. So I get it. But part of me wonders like, okay, we're keeping these videos in our back pocket when things go on. So now we've got Jason Madison and they came out and they said that they did not wait for their wedding to kiss because Madison was not raised in the IBLP, which many of the other spouses were raised either very similarly or even within the IBLP, that type of thing. Jason went on to say even more that he didn't want to marry somebody that followed the IBLP. So he's like completely leaving it. And she wears jeans and always has, like her family was more traditional and they met through Instagram. The way they described it in the Q&A was a little confusing, but Jace says that I only say it like that because he's always been called Jason, but now all of a sudden he's Jace.
He's rebranding.
He introduces himself as Jace. So yeah, it's like totally a rebrand. He was even having a hard time describing it, but it was somehow she started following him on Instagram, and then he liked something that he noticed. He somehow came across her profile because she followed him, and he liked something she had in her bio, including a Bible verse. And he liked a design though. And I think he reached out to her about that, or that.
He slid into the DMs, but they were trying to downplay that.
It's something like that. Yeah. It was,
you know what, ladies? There is hope out there. If you want to snag yourself a Duggar, that's one of the boys left over, there's a chance.
I wonder which ones are left. Jackson.
I think they're all very young.
Jackson's
maybe
going to be 20.
20, yeah.
And
that's very young to me.
He's the youngest boy. The rest are all girls.
The rest of the girls, yeah.
Yeah. But anywho, so I just found that video interesting. There was a lot that you could learn about them through that Q&A. Don't always love Q&As, but I thought they did a pretty decent job because obviously them being from the Fundie families, and they're a couple I don't know a lot about. I was interested in that. But now my Bates. Don't even mess with me about my Bates family. I love every single one of them. I am sorry if there are questionable things that I do or don't know about, and everyone's going to have their opinions about the way that people are raised in the IBLP, like blanket training and things like that. But honestly, the Duggars did more of like the blanket training and things like that, which is like where you put your kid on a blanket starting at 6 months. And if they try to crawl off, you like whack their hand. And yeah, it's really not okay. But the Bates, I don't think did a lot of that stuff and didn't follow like that part of it, or at least as much, because they're much more accepting to like when the kids started doing their own thing, or they at least keep it private within the family. Like when Ginger decided to start wearing pants, Ginger Duggar, she was in tears, even talking about how and when she told her mom she wanted to wear pants. Whereas like the Bates, they just hightailed it out of there and started wearing pants. And they knew their parents were still going to love them.
Their mom bought them their first pair of pants. I don't know.
That's how it felt. And I love Kelly. I love her. So
that's the mom.
Yes. The dads, Jim Bob and Gil, I could give or take Gil Bates or Jim Bob Duggar, especially no on Jim Bob. But Kelly is just really sweet, and she's there for all of her kids and just a really wonderful mom and mother-in-law. So I love the Bates, and they like so many of them have YouTube channels. Like it's like a job making sure to watch them all every week. But so this week we got 2 Bates pregnancy announcements from the girls. We have Erin, who is having baby number 7. This girl is not even 34 years old. She'll be 34 in May. Please do not judge. I know their birthdays. Leave me alone. She's having baby number 7. Wow. But no, good for her if that is what they want for their family. That's a lot of kids. I don't know how you afford that these days, but listen, if anyone's going to know how to afford that many children, it's going to be a Bates or a Duggar. We also have Josie Bates, who is pregnant. And this all comes only 2 months after Carlin Bates announces her 3rd pregnancy. So we have 3 sisters right now in the Bates family that are pregnant, at least.
Those are going to be some expensive holidays coming up.
They're going to be some expensive holidays. And they're actually at a size where they can't all, as siblings, get a couple beach houses together. Like it doesn't really work like that. Occasionally they find like a cabin they've all been to, but even then not everybody is there because the ones in Florida don't always make it the same way.
Well, and how do you know all of your siblings or all of their children when it comes to that many people? How can you have a close relationship to 17 siblings? Oh, it's just impossible.
They are at 30 something grandchildren, if not getting close to 40 by now. There are a lot of grandkids.
There's a lot of guessing of names. I'm imagining like Gil and the mom are like, who are you again?
Yeah. Lawson, one of the boys, he is 32, almost 30. He'll be 33 July. And You guys are probably dying. Like, why does she know all their birthdays? I don't care. I've been watching them all since I was a teenager. Okay. It's just years of knowing. Anyways, he will label who like a grandkid is when they're like on any of his videos, because he and his wife actually waited a short bit, like a couple years to have kids, not too long, but they waited just a tiny bit. And so a lot of their videos involved the nieces and the nephews, because the Fundies, like, unfortunately profit off pregnancy and the children that they have in their videos for YouTube. And he would like label who it was. It would say Hazel Balka, which is like one of Josie's daughters.
He busts out the family tree.
He would he'll put the name so you know what grandkid that is. Because especially after they're born, you don't look like what you're going to look like. And then as you grow as a toddler, if that sibling doesn't have a YouTube channel, you might not have seen a lot of what that kid looks like. So you're like, wait, which kid is that? But at least if you put the name and the last name, we'll know who it is if you follow them. So like I've said before, I don't do a bunch of family channels, but I just can't help it with debates. I just get so intrigued, and they're not on TV anymore with any shows. So YouTube is really where you get to continue to watch your favorite ones. And I end up watching every week. I watch like most of them. Let's see. There's Trace and Lydia. There's Lawson, Katie, Carlin. They all have channels that are like regular. And then Erin will release videos sometimes. And then Michael or Mike, she has one too, but she actually talks a lot about infertility and things like that, because she and her husband have struggled to have children. I feel like there was one video about adoption, but I don't get as enthralled with their videos. I'm sorry. But Michael is a very sweet woman, it seems, from any of the videos and all of watching the show back in the day. So anyways, that's about it for Fundie news, but that's a lot of pregnancies and a lot of babies coming up.
Oh, yeah. All right. So let's shift gears a bit and talk about someone else who's definitely making some waves in the world of business, media, and pretty much everything in between. Meghan Markle, or the Duchess of Sussex, or Meghan Sussex, as she quickly told Mindy Kaling she is now
You're so
known
funny.
as.
You keep saying Markle. You know it's Sussex now. We're getting Sussex now.
On her show.
Like, Meghan, that was a bit of an ick.
Like, that was Mindy helping Meghan humanize herself, and she didn't take it. And that's from her Netflix show. But I'm not sure many of you, like me, had any idea that she actually quietly launched her second podcast this year. And it's called Confessions of a Female Founder. And I just happened to stumble upon it through an article I read on The Cut about her. Or maybe it was on Vanity Fair. I don't remember. But it was discussing the contents of one of the episodes. And I said, wait a minute, whose podcast is this? And I went and searched, and it's Meghan's. She just started releasing episodes in April. And obviously we know she has some podcasting in her background. She had Archetypes back in 2023.
I liked Archetypes.
But she just left that project after a bit. So we don't really know what happened.
It was her production company, so she probably just decided
she wanted to shift gears or something.
Yeah.
But today there are already 4 episodes out of her new podcast. And I have to say I'm a little bit late to the game, but better late than never, because I had no idea this was coming out. I know she's been
either.
So busy. This 2025 has been the year of projects for Meghan.
It's true. She's back in the limelight all of a sudden. And I think since that documentary in 2022 came out, which I ate up, and it's still on Netflix, there was like a lull for the last 2.5, 3 years where good for them. They deserve their peace and their,
at least a public facing lull. She was obviously hard at work doing these things, but
correct. She was just out of the limelight for a couple of years, and you're going, huh? And now all of a sudden, boom, it's like a wave.
Earlier this year, she announced a new lifestyle brand, which at first was called American Riviera Orchard, which is what Montecito is often referred to. It's like another name for the area, which is where she lives. And a couple of her famous neighbors are like Oprah Winfrey, and Gwyneth Paltrow has a house up there. And in her latest episode of Confessions of a Female Founder, she actually shares why she decided to scrap that name altogether. She thought it sounded like a word salad, first of all. And then she thought that it was going to be limiting her to just sourcing products made in Montecito. So she rebranded it as Ever. And I get it, As Ever sounds a little bit more fresh, personal, more aligned with what she's trying to build versus American Riviera Orchard. What does that mean? You know?
Sounds like a fresh, modern fairy tale, As Ever.
Yes. Yeah. So 2025, as I said, she's been super busy. So she launched that lifestyle brand in February. Then she had her new Netflix show in March. And now she launched a podcast in April. It makes me wonder what's coming up in May.
Yeah.
What else is up her sleeve? What does she have for us to consume?
That'll be interesting. I wonder if the launch date of everything was like pre-thought out in terms of, okay, we're going to have the show. Netflix will do a good job of pushing that on everyone's let's watch this kind of list. And then they'll get back into Meghan. I don't think that show got a lot of people back into her. And then we'll launch that podcast because they'll want to listen. It could be smart timing. She's got like a team behind her. So,
oh yeah. And she's definitely leaning into that multi-hyphenate idea, right? She's blending her entrepreneurial spirit of being a podcaster, a business owner, a personality on her show. So she really is trying to lean into so many different avenues to try and get a foothold. But it makes me think, do you admire her for managing so many projects at once? Or do you think that she might be spreading herself too thin? I can't imagine running 3 new projects all at once.
I think when you have a team behind you, you can make that happen for sure. And I know she's very involved with her children, but like in terms of assistance during the day to allow you to work, she has probably live-in assistance. And if she doesn't, who cares? Whether you have an au pair or you have somebody that comes just during the day and that goes home, like there really isn't that big of a difference in terms of that's when you get the help. Like somebody was saying that, what's the difference if I drop my kid off at daycare all day or I have somebody that watches them at my house? What is the, like, why are you judging that I would have somebody at my house as opposed to spending $1,500 a week on daycare or a month or whatever it is? It's very expensive. People do their choices. So I wouldn't judge, but I know she's got the help she needs to make all this happen.
Oh, absolutely. And I think part of it is no matter what you do as a mom, you're going to get judged. So even if it were her mom watching her children, who she tries to keep out of the limelight, but she did post recently within the last couple of days, a little video. It didn't show Lilibet's face, but you could hear her voice and you saw her red hair. That's her daughter with Harry, who's American born. She has an American accent.
Yeah, because any
so
years,
cute.
Lily, as she's called, being raised here, that's very likely, obviously, why? Because they say that you sound like your peers. So you could have 2 American parents that moved to the UK for whatever. And if you start going to daycare, preschool, regular school age, you likely could and would develop that accent, at least eventually, because you typically end up sounding like your peers. And when you're young, though, your parents can be your peers if you're not.
That's what I was going to mention. Having an English father, obviously, those are some of the words and the way he pronounces things would affect both her and Archie, her older brother, Meghan, and Harry's oldest child. Because I'm even thinking, I have a friend whose father is Australian. She grew up here. She was born in California, but she has a very interesting accent. And it's because even though she went to school in California, all her friends are Californian, she grew up at home hearing her father's accent. And it's very strong. But hers doesn't sound Australian and it doesn't sound Californian either. It almost sounds Midwestern. Like some of the words she says, the way she her mouth goes over like certain vowels, it's very different. And you have to listen and think, oh, that's interesting. Are you not from California? And she is, but that's just something I always notice when I talk to her.
Yes. I had a mentor who was from South Africa and then lived in the UK for a period of time and then California. And what's interesting is her oldest daughter, who's older than us, has a very interesting accent as well. When she said the word hill, that's where I really noticed it. And it was the vowel in hill.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to mock or do an impression on this podcast. I might have to for you off recording, but it was very interesting to me. I was like, oh, there it is from your mom. I can hear that.
There's a
Jif peanut butter. It's that jiffing good. It doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jif. It's that Jiffing good. Get your Jif at Jif.com.
Hello, Nigel here. As an owl, I love to be awake all night, but allergy sufferers like you probably don't feel the same. So take Zysol at night to relieve allergies while you sleep. Then wake up fully refreshed for a more productive day. Zysol works fast and offers 24-hour continuous relief from sneezing, runny nose, itchy watery eyes, and itchy nose and throat, so you can enjoy doing the things you love all day long. Be Wisol. Take Zysol at night. Use as directed. Starts working in 45 minutes.
Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
The #1 selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, streaming now only on Netflix.
Another person in the limelight who comes to mind when we're discussing accents that are like multicultural, and that's Anya Taylor-Joy, whose primary English accent is British, but she also speaks Spanish because she spent a lot of time in Argentina. So she learned English at a young age after moving from Argentina to London, but her native language is Spanish, even though she's not Argentinian.
Very interesting upbringing and story. She was describing it in an interview once, and I was quite interested. I forgot everything she said now, but I was like, oh, that's very interesting. Was there anything else on Meghan that we wanted to cover?
Yeah. So I guess just bringing it back to Meghan as we wrap up this little segment, her hustle is real. And whether you're into everything she's doing or not, one thing's clear, she's definitely creating and carving out a new space for herself in a lot of ways that really feel intentional. She has the podcast, she has the new brand, she has the Netflix show. So she's really trying to be seen for who she is rather than maybe what people believe her to be. And I'm just curious if any of our listeners are going to be tuning into her new podcast, which is called Confessions of a Female Founder. So let us know in the comments.
It feels a little self-indulgent, that title, no? But you earned it. You earned that. I get it.
It could feel that way because I could see why we would think that, because she does have a very brand new business, but she is interviewing people who have founded, like women who have founded successful businesses. Which,
I wondered.
So it is an interview-based podcast.
So she's not only referring
she's
to herself,
not referencing herself, hopefully just yet, as she's still building her platform.
She is, but she's also referencing the guests. It goes both ways. So that's pretty cool. And I'm sure some of the guests would be very inspiring and interesting. I love that.
And what better platform than Meghan Markle's new podcast? Because people who either like her or don't like her are still going to be tuning in. So she's creating a really great platform for people to talk about their businesses.
I have a little bit of a new perspective on her show as well. Now, some of those spots, like the Mindy calling thing, which we have discussed twice now, and some of the little spots, you're like, oh, Meghan, that was a little icky, but it's nothing crazy. And something she's judged for so hard on that show is like trying to make things look effortless, but yet they're not perfect. I think that's the whole point, that she's showing you how you can do this on your own, simply, very rustically. This is how I make that. This is how, because people will be like, this just looks so simple. What's so special about it? That's the whole point. Let me
like
show
anybody
you.
Can do that.
And I'm pouring myself into this dish or this drink or this gift. And it's from, quote, the heart and my garden or whatever. And it's just from me. It's very homemade. It's very like old school and rustic. So it's like, that's the whole point. And I think that got a little bit missed because she does have an air of perfectionism and effortlessly, for example, like her outfits looking effortlessly put together and perfect.
Well,
and it's like,
always
it's
comes
okay.
across a little bit constructed or inauthentic. I think that's what a lot of people pick up on, but they're really just picking pieces of maybe not her best moments on the show. And she did have producer credits, so she could have edited them out. So maybe she left them to seem more human, and she is not so perfect. My sister actually watched the whole series and she really liked it. So
yeah, I think that it just shows what you can do with those tomatoes you grew. Your garden doesn't have to be as big as hers. And
I don't even think it was her garden. Like, I know it wasn't her kitchen in the show. She rented it out. She rented a house to film, which is fine. She doesn't need to let millions of people into her home.
Right. And that would be more disruptive to her children because they're still young. They're not at school all day. I don't think.
It's a TV show. TV shows have sets all the time, whether it's rented or built. So
yeah, even Ree Drummond, Pioneer Woman, it is her like guest house kitchen that she will film in. It's like a special kitchen that she films in because she's not disrupting the normal home that she was raising kids in when she started the show. So yeah, I have a bit of a new perspective, a bit of a better understanding of, yeah, she's not trying to show us, hey, this is how you do it perfect. Even though sometimes, like I said, she looks very well put together and everything. You would think she's trying to portray that. She's not. She's trying to portray, this is seriously how easy this is. And she says it all the time on the show too. I haven't watched every episode, but I've watched many of them. And like I said, I don't love her as much in it as I did in the documentary, but the documentary was a different side and a different story and a different period of time in her life. So,
and a different purpose too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know what's serving a very interesting purpose these days that does not have anything to do with Meghan Markle is scarcity marketing. And it's driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts. I get it because it's also easier for these brands to do these drops or whatever. And the scarcity marketing tactic makes me feel like, oh, I have to hurry up. And like at 8 a.m. when the drop happens, I have to be on and I have to have my credit card number in there all the time and all of this stuff. And where we really saw this do a company wrong is Parke, P-A-R-K-E. Have you heard of this company?
I've seen their sweatshirts. I don't know what else they make. Is it athleisure, casual wear?
It's primarily sweatshirts and they have a mock neck. It's not totally like a crew neck, but yeah, a mock neck. And I had not really heard about this brand because it's very like Gen Z, and the scarcity marketing took this person that didn't have a gajillion followers on TikTok and blew them up because she started, and I get it. They're cute, but her last name is...
Oh, is it Parke?
It's Parke something. So she took the name Parke. So people are like wandering around with this like random person
labeled in her last name
on their sweatshirt. And the only reason it's cool is because they're like $120, $150. And the scarcity tactic, which again, the scarcity marketing means, okay, here's their Valentine's Day set and you need to be, it's going to drop at 8 a.m. And then within minutes,
limited quantities as they last.
Literally in minutes, they are gone. The first one that I really remember, I should say the first company that I really remember doing this was Kylie Cosmetics.
With the lip kits.
And whenever they were dropping a new lip kit or they were restocking, you found out on, I think like Instagram or wherever. Come on, we're talking almost 10 years ago now. But yeah, And then you would get all wrapped up. I'm not kidding. I'd be on there like on my lunch at work or whatever. And they'd already be sold out. Or if you made it on the exact time, it would sell out within, we're talking, you would have it in your bag, be checking out, and then all of a sudden sold out as you were checking out.
You know who's doing this right now too? And it's like a multi-million, billion-dollar company, Trader Joe's, with those mini totes. Have you been seeing?
Yeah. People are going crazy. I'm like, I could not care any less about.
I got one last year and I had seen them. I thought they were cute. I had told Tim, I said, oh, look, isn't this cute? And so the next morning I woke up and I texted him, I'm like, where are you at? And then he's, just pulled up to the house, and he got me two. He got me a green one and a blue one. And I ended up giving one to my sister. But so he surprised me with it. And I don't think he had to wait in line or anything, but he did have to go early. And that was before really the big frenzy started happening, where people are waiting in line 3 hours, 5 hours for a $3.99 tote. They just had a drop over Easter with some pastel colors. And I saw so many videos on social media about it. People would run in and they would just start fighting over bags. And that's when it's gotten really bad, because it's a little tote bag. They're cute, but you don't need to fight over it. You don't need to buy 50. And they started limiting how many people could buy, because then resellers started getting in there and charging exorbitant fees for them.
Oh, we've talked about resellers. You know how I feel about that. Ridiculous. I'm all about people being creative and making money, but taking something that's worth $3.99 and charging $20, $100 for it is ridiculous.
And it's a tote bag. The whole point of a tote bag is to use and reuse it. You don't need 50 different tote bags. You need enough that'll carry all your groceries, and that's about it. So you're not using plastic bags if that's what's important to you. But if
it should last you like 5 years to a decade, honestly.
Right. So if you're going to the store and buying a new tote bag every time they release a new color, you're defeating the purpose of buying a reusable tote bag. It's like the people that collect Hydro Flask or have a wall of 20. Or whatever they're called. You don't need a wall of 20 different reusable water bottles. That's not the point.
1 to 3 is fine, because you are reusing them, you wash them. 1 to 3, that's really all you should probably need. And I should be telling myself this, because I have way too many.
Have you fallen into that trap?
No, I will be honest. I haven't fallen into the trap of a single type of cup, but it's like I still have many because I like them, right? Like I have several Starbucks cups. I have 2 Stanleys. Like I have some other ones that have just been like gifted or whatever. And it's okay. Like it's so easy to get wrapped up when they're cute, and they don't last forever, especially if they are plastic. If they start cracking or they start wearing down, like plastic, when it's porous like that, is going to hold bacteria and stuff like that. Like you do have to get rid of them. But so yes, companies are doing this. Didn't think about Trader Joe's, but you're so right about that with the totes. Now, who else is doing it is Rhode. Hailey Bieber's Rhode. And people love Rhode. I'm going to tell you that. They love their lip peptide, all the things Rhode. I don't have anything Rhode. I didn't really get locked into that brand.
We're also a little bit older than her demographic.
Exactly. I would probably rock like a lip peptide if I need to, or she's got some.
It's moisturizer for your lips.
She has some like cute, like smudgy liner too. That's more to be made to make your lips stand out, not like actually be like a liner, if that makes sense. I forget what she calls them, but they all have like names for like movement, like stretch or twist. Like, and then she runs like more of a skin tone kind of matched color line. And so those are pretty cute. Like I could see myself messing around with something like that. But yeah, like we're not really in the demographic for her necessarily. It wouldn't be weird, but we're not like the main one. I agree. But what's happening with this Scarcity marketing is she does the same thing of the drops, right? Okay, sugar cookies coming out for my lip peptide. Like here's a drop or whatever. There's a video, and I saw it when it was new. And this all reminded me when I was hearing about this drama going off with the Park sweatshirts, because now people are all pissed off at Park and are like, wait, why am I wearing her name? Like it's working against them, because people are starting to understand. Anyways, so with Rhode, there was this video of this girl, and she's 20, give or take. Okay. And we'll say college age though, because it doesn't look like she lives with her mom. She's like off on her own, right? And she is calling her mom for money. And it's, Mom, can you put money in my account? I need it like fast. And her mom's, whoa, like what? For
yeah,
what?
like, are you stranded?
Are you trying to
Do you need a ride?
I'll tell you later. I'll just do it now. Going crazy. And her mom's, okay, I just put $100 in there. What is going on? And then she's, okay, I'll come back. And then like, she's, woohoo, like she's getting it and then gets all excited because she like got it or whatever. And she's, okay, I got two of the same thing. So that was something interesting to me too, is not only did the scarcity marketing make her so excited to have gotten something and feel like she really made it, right? It also caused her to buy more than one, because she doesn't know when she'll have access to it again. Because sometimes with scarcity marketing, a lot of that is for like certain holidays, etc. Like you said, the pastels for Easter. A lot of times it's not coming back, but sometimes it is coming back. Like when Kylie Jenner would release new lip colors, very little of them were limited time only. So anyways, so she gets them. Then she does an unboxing video and she tries it on. She goes, oh, it tastes like coffee. I don't like coffee. What do you want to call it? Like excitement, right? All of that had already passed by the time she was unboxing it. Then she even tries it on and she says it tastes like coffee and she doesn't like coffee. And so it's like all of that hubbub of calling mom, needing money, wasting your time during the drop period, trying to hurry up, get it in your account and not have it sell out before you can get it. All of that.
For nothing.
For nothing. You don't even like the way that she's not wearing it. Okay. Let us be real. She's not wearing the lip peptide. She's not using it. She's not wearing it. Period.
I think she needs to get on under consumption TikTok or something, because that's bad.
I actually just had to take a quick break to put my own lip balm on because all this talk had me thinking about lip balm. So I put some on, but it just got me thinking, like, even when I was the same age as these people, back in the 2010s, when a lot of the scarcity marketing was happening, I fell prey to it, but now it's more prevalent than ever. You see it with merch drops from fellow podcasts and all kinds of stuff. It is a tactic. It's not evil by any means.
And it's not a new tactic, as you're saying. It's been around for a while and it's effective, which is why it keeps working.
Right. It works, but we have to think about the way we as consumers react to it. You really have to think, how important is this? And it's my husband and I are talking about the Switch 2, and he really wants it. We already have a Switch, but of course there's going to be games that you can only play on the Switch 2. One of them I happen to really want. So he's lucky and will probably end up getting it, but irritates me in that it's okay. I already got the Switch. Then there was like this next level Switch that came out a few years after that, probably like 5 though. So that's a long time, but there was nothing wrong with the Switch. So my husband sold that, got the new one. Now we're doing it again. Now
we do the same thing with our phones all the time. Tim and I were just talking about how we can't wait for our upgrade because we want the phone with the better camera, because we think we're going to be using the camera a lot more and we want to be able to take better quality pictures. But
yeah,
the phones we have work fine. They take good pictures. So maybe we should probably listen to what we're saying and not fall prey to that of trying to get the next best thing.
Yeah, it's better like once it's not working or once it's so noticeably different than the current quality that's out there. For example, my computer. How bad was the camera on my computer? You poor thing had to Zoom with me all the time. Camera. It was horrible. I couldn't even post video of like interviews from it because it was just so bad.
It looks a lot better now. Let's just say that.
And this difference of 6 years. I got that old computer, which wasn't even that old, in January of 2019, but everything was so old technology wise by then. You got to think things get updated like every 6 months to a year is when it comes to Apple and probably Android, whatever it is that they've been holding back on. Cause they've had the technology.
For sure.
Ever. They've had it for 5 years, especially Apple. They released later than Android. I just refuse to have an Android because.
And I don't know why. In my defense, my phone's 2 years old. So I only have the 2 cameras in the back. They have 3 now. Oh, see, you're showing me yours.
I'm
You
holding
have
up
the
my
newest
3.
one.
I have a 16. I was rocking. I usually switch every other year. So I usually like skip one. But I did have a plan for a while, and I still do, where you can upgrade every year, but you still have to pay off the other phone because you haven't paid it off yet. So unless you buy it outright. And so I usually will just wait until that's done and then upgrade unless something's happened. Or like I said, there's a noticeable difference where you're like, I do really prefer to have that feature. Notice I didn't say need.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
there's
it's
so
definitely
much
a
stuff
want.
we don't need. Yes. And I think today I did a video on TikTok about how, because this is like a trend, and I really wanted to join the conversation about how millennials survived the 2008 recession, which was a huge recession, as many of us were graduating or entering college. So all of our internships, all of our job prospects, they were all harmed by this recession. They were all impacted, is what I really should say. And one of the things I said was that today we have so many more things that have been built into our lives that we use every day comparatively to 2008. Like in 2008, like our makeup didn't have to be luxury or not. Our skincare had 3 steps, maybe. So we weren't using all of these things that you feel like, oh, I have to have the $50, $100 to go get that serum every other month. No, we didn't have that. And we didn't have to cut back on it for that reason. There really wasn't a lot we like cut back on. It was just we had to brace ourselves and weren't getting jobs primarily. And I don't mean to trivialize anybody's experience that had a much rougher experience, such as losing your home. Many people's families lost their homes, et cetera, in 2008. But for those that, you know, were privileged to not do that, there really wasn't much you cut back on. It was their parents' 401k was massively affected, but they all rebounded and so on and so forth. So again, there wasn't a lot we cut back on, right? Or do you feel the same? Like we knew stuff was bad, things were happening financially. Like we knew the economy was suffering, but there wasn't too much that we had to cut back on. Everything was like cheaper, and we just didn't use a lot of things day to day. We barely set our foundation with powder, like a $5 powder. Like we didn't.
I'm trying to think.
We
It's
didn't
so long
fill
ago.
our eyebrows in. So there's no $30 brow
not.
pencil or whatever,
true.
or gel, or getting them laminated. We weren't spending $100 getting eyebrows
No.
laminated.
I
Do I
think
do that now?
It
Yeah.
depends on what type of field you were working in at the time. Obviously, I was still in college.
Yeah, we were more scared about what job we were going to be able to get. That's
Yeah,
what we
I'm
were
even
worried about.
thinking like a lot of the small business owners, like my parents own a small business, and they lost a lot of money. And it was really hard for them to keep the doors open of their business. And that Christmas, we did not have Christmas presents. We wrote love letters to each other. And actually, like my mom always says that's her favorite Christmas, actually. She says, because we just played games and we wrote love letters, and we got like maybe 1, 2 presents, but it wasn't anything that we were used to. And it was more about just being a family and being together. And yeah, my mom always looks back at that and says that was a really hard time. And it took a while for everything to bounce back. And I think a lot of people experienced that side of the recession as well, the 2008 recession. But she always says that I think her and my dad both say that was their favorite Christmas.
That's beautiful too. And thank you for sharing that. I will say my dad worked his ass off keeping the doors open for the company that he was VP of as well. And he worked up from the warehouse when he was 18 years old to that VP's status at this small company. And I remember that was scary. Like 2009 was more scary than 2008. I think for a lot of businesses, because everything was just like a domino effect, right? Like
yeah. Maybe I'm thinking of 2009, but yeah.
And it was probably all around that, whatever. It could have been
but like
Christmas
one
08.
Christmas, either 2008 or 2009 it was just us and board games that we had, and we wrote letters, and it was nice because my grandpa lived with us. He was a widower. We got to spend one of his last Christmases with him, just us, and writing love letters to him. And yeah, it was just like a way for us to say it doesn't matter about material things. And obviously things rebounded, things got back to normal eventually. But I think that there are ways that you can still find the silver lining in a really difficult time. And I think that even though economically things aren't great right now, there are silver linings to be found in just being able to embrace human connection, familial connections. Yeah, it can be scary, but there are things that you can do to make it okay. Or not make it okay, but make it help you live through it, survive it.
Do you agree, even changing a Christmas tradition in 1 year, which is a massive change, but a beautiful one, don't you agree that there still wasn't those date things, items? Again, I'm using the idea of a really expensive serum that we're all using today and Botox and things like that. But like at 20 years old, we weren't cutting down on Botox and fillers
because we weren't
during
getting
recession.
them.
Because we weren't getting them. We didn't have to stop buying eyebrow pencils because we weren't filling our eyebrows in or getting them laminated. Well, you guys gave up gifts on Christmas, which again is a massive difference. It still wasn't in that day to day, those changes, you just didn't feel them the same way on the day to day. That holiday, huge feeling and differences of feeling what was going on. But that's just why our house parties had solo cups and like cheap champagne or cheap beer or cheap alcohol, pop-off. Like these are all the things I talk about in the video. Pop-off vodka was like $13 for a handle. And you could have a handle with you and a couple friends last several weekends. So there was just a lot of things we didn't have to give up. And nowadays we just have so much. iPhones were around, but only AT&T
I think
had them.
The only person I knew that had an iPhone was Tim.
You had to have AT&T.
Yeah, that's why he got it. I think he has the first one. We have it somewhere in storage because
I love that.
A relic of another time. We can't get rid of that one.
And that's when you kept all your old phones. Remember that? You used to keep your old phones, and if something happened to one, you would just like quickly activate the other. It's so heavy too.
It's so heavy and so teeny tiny. Yeah, it's very cute. But I feel like this is a good spot for us to wrap up today's Unscripted. Thanks so much for everyone being here and listening to us chat about basically everything. We can't wait for you to tune in on Thursday for our Murder Diaries case coverage and then next Monday again for Unscripted. So until then,
bye.